you fine. We'll get it going. Yeah, I'll have you started off in just a second. So I'm trying to get it where you can see the participants, but you'll just have to tap on it and hit it. But I'll let Carla. Okay, I'll get them in. All right.
You already ready?
Yeah, everybody. I didn't let, but you'll have to check it to make sure a few more people that want to come in.
Okay.
Okay, okay. You know what? Whatever you do to that thing, I don't care. Okay, because you said that that's some kind of fertility thing, and I don't want anything to do with it. Hello, hello, everyone. How are you doing? First, I want to say hello to my girl. Get out of your way, family, ladies. We have been anticipating this sit down all week. Hopefully you can hear me. Y'all know this is my first time getting this done, but we're gonna make it happen, okay? And so y'all see I'm prepared, okay? I got prepared, ladies, so this is my little cue card. So before we get started, let me try to do an official introduction. So welcome to In Her Footsteps. On this live, we journey through a story of discipline and determination and hope. I'm your host, Promise J, and this space is for women over 40 who are ready to rise above life's challenges, embrace their resilience, and reclaim their power. Today's episode is more than special, it's personal. I'm here with someone whose footsteps I've walked in my entire life, whose wisdom has shaped me, and whose story is one of unimaginable resilience. My grandmother, Dr. Opal Lee, but y'all affectionately know her as the Grandmother of Juneteenth. If we could just give a round of applause for this beautiful woman here. We love her. Hey, the people online are clapping, okay? And so we are here, okay, today to just have a sit down with you, Granddaughter. Okay. Hopefully you guys can hear us. I have the microphone, so Granddaughter, you know you're not mic'd up, but you know if you speak up, we can hear you. Okay. And so today, like I said, just to give you a little background about the group, it's a 3-week, 21 days. Each day I come to them with different topics. First week we were again getting rid of the old junk, right? The limited beliefs, the things that we tell ourselves that makes us think that we're not good enough and that we can't make it. Okay. And so we kind of dealt with those things, childhood trauma, triggers, just things that hold us back. This week is more about discipline, determination, moving past challenges, and going even when you don't feel like going. Okay? And so I thought it would be perfect to have you here, someone who has shown so much resilience, and just share some stories with the ladies about what it means to keep going in adversity.
If you say so.
Y'all, this is going to be hilarious. This woman is funny. I know y'all get to see her with the presidents and things of that nature, but she is truly your grandmother, okay? She is exactly how she comes off. There's no difference. She is truly a sweetheart. So I'm not gonna hold her long, so we're not gonna rush through this, but we are gonna, get through because it's late and we want to get. I'm more tired than she is. She's already done interviews today, so she's had the Dallas news here today and all kind of stuff. So we won't hold her long, okay, ladies. So first, I want to talk about where we're recording. We're sitting here in a home that was built on the same land that you watch get burned down. How does that feel?
Well, I'm overjoyed and I'm thankful to God for being here. And if I need to tell you the story, my parents bought a house on this very lot back in 1939. And my mom had it fixed up so nice. And would you believe it was on the 19th of June? But people started gathering across the street, and the police were there, and it got to be about, the paper says 500 of them. And our parents sent us to friends several blocks away.
Mhm.
They left under cover of darkness. Those people, oh, they did despicable things. They dragged the furniture out and burned it. Oh, the way
How old were you?
I should have been 9.
You were about 9
9
years
years
old.
old.
You remember it very vividly that
Yes.
that day.
And what I do remember is that our parents never, ever discussed it with us. Never.
Never.
So I went on to finish grade school at James E. Gwynn and go to I.M. Terrell High School. And my mom had planned to send me to Wiley College. It's a university now back in Marshall, Texas, and that's where we were from. But I got married.
She said she got married, ladies. I think we know a little bit about that. And so you got married, and then what?
Well, she was so disappointed.
Mm.
She wouldn't even go to the wedding at Baker Chapel Church. And it took me 4 years and 4 babies
Uh-huh.
to realize I was gonna have to raise my husband too.
Wait a minute. 4 years and 4 babies, and you knew that you were gonna have to raise that husband too. What was he doing? Like, I'm just. How did you know you was gonna have to raise him? And you having to pick up behind him and the kids?
So I cut my losses. I went home to my mother and had nerve enough to say, I'm ready to go to college now. And she says, I've got no money to send you to nobody's college. And then she said, I'll keep your children. I worked, I don't know how many jobs to get the money to go in the fall to Wiley. And guess what I did?
What you do?
I spent it.
What you spend it on?
I bought the children a television so she wouldn't have to run all over the neighborhood looking for them. And I went to Wiley without a dime. They put me to work in the college bookstore.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I hadn't quit the job in Fort Worth because I didn't know what was going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
She kept it during the week. I'd come back and work weekends. She'd collect the check. The work got done. Nobody knew the difference.
Let's talk about that a little bit, because it takes, you're working.
Says a little faint. I mean, speak up.
Speak up a little bit. Okay. So that says a lot about you, that you're able to continue to work. You're working 2 jobs. You're working, going to school. Can you kind of put us a little bit, what was in your mind? Was it just that I need to get it done? Like, what was going through your mind at that time, juggling those jobs and the children?
I had no idea. I simply knew that once you started something, you had to finish it.
Did y'all hear that? Now, I don't mean to cut you off. She said, once you start something, you have to finish. Okay?
Come hell or high water.
Come hell or high water. You must get it finished. That's something we've been talking about, ladies. We can't continue to start things and stop them. So as you would continue on, so you're in school, you're working, you're working a job, your mother's working it, and it's still getting done.
Yeah. What happened was I had gotten the money to go to Wiley, and she said she'd keep the children, but I took the money and bought the children a television.
Right.
So I went to Wiley without a dime.
No money, and you're going to school and you're working.
So They put me to work in the college bookstore at Wiley,
Okay.
and I hadn't quit the job in Fort Worth.
Okay.
So I come back. My mom worked during the week. I come back and work it on weekends.
Mhm.
The job got done. Nobody noticed it.
Mhm.
My mom would collect the paycheck.
Now that was back in the day, right? She's working on the weekends. Her mother's working during the week, and nobody knows the difference. Her mom's getting the check. She's staying at school and continuing on. So you're working now. You worked as a teacher, is that correct?
I finished college
Okay.
in 3.5 years instead of 4. I had children.
You had to get out of there, huh?
Yeah. Yes. And I came back here to Fort Worth and got a job teaching that paid $2,000 a year.
Did you say $2,000 a year?
Girl, I couldn't feed no 4 children on no $2,000.
I know that's right.
I got another job.
Uh,
Now, if I was at school from 8 to 3, there'd be a car waiting on me. And from 4 to 12, I worked at Lockheed Martin.
oh.
And so that went on for quite a while.
Mhm.
Nobody knew the difference.
Nobody knew the difference in you working. So, and guys, you know, we don't have any mics to put on her, so please bear with me. I'll continue to emphasize on anything you may not hear. So, Lockheed Martin, you're working that job. You're still but you're done with school at this time, right? When you're at Lockheed Martin.
I finished college, got a job teaching that paid $2,000, which was not enough for me and 4 children. I got the job at Lockheed, and I go to school from 8 to 3, and Lockheed from 4 to 12. And I did that quite a while.
Where are you finding all this energy at? I mean, when you approach obstacles, because that's something as your grandchild that I've always admired about you. I've always noticed how you never took no for an answer. So do you even dwell on the things that are going wrong?
Not really.
Okay.
You pray to a God who helps you.
You pray every day.
Oh gosh, yes.
Every day I watch you. Anytime we're together, I watch you pray.
Yeah. And he comes up with plans that help you. I realized that teaching and getting paid $2,000 a year wasn't going to feed 4 children. And so I got this job at Lockheed. I'd go from school to Lockheed, and hey, it worked out for me.
Now, even in that time, had you started doing any of your philanthropy? You know, because you were helping. That's how it started, right at school. Helping the children is what kind of opened up the door for who you are today.
When you're teaching children and they're hungry, they don't learn. So it ended up at times you had to find food for family, or you had to find shoes for a child. So after a while, with some others, we started a food bank. And people were willing. And it would even take food, I still do, to people who are bedridden or old and can't go get it. So we take it to them. I've still got 15 families that I service.
She still serviced 15 families. I want to talk a little bit about her and this food. When we travel, y'all, how serious she is about feeding those who need food. When we go to these places, these people feed her good. You know, they take care of her. They treat her like the queen that she is. Well, honey, let me tell you what it's like having to go through the airport and carry all these bags, because she's not going to throw any food away. Even where she's at right now, she wants to make sure that no one is hungry. So if she has food left over, she wants to make sure that it gets to someone in need. And that has also always been something that I saw of my grandmother. She's always been selfless. She's always, if you needed something, even to this day, if you need something, she's there. How do you keep going?
Well, I had grandparents and my mom. If you started something, you better finish it. And so you just have to strengthen the will to get things done. You can't just, I'm gonna say, dilly-dally around.
She said you can't dilly-dally around. You have to get things done.
Yes, you do.
And that was something we were also talking about. You know, sometimes we get into a complacent place where we just are kind of going with the flow. But every now and then you got to make some ruckus, right? You got to cut some things up. You got to get real passionate behind what you need. Now, how did your parents play a part in what did they show you in their life that, you know, also rubbed off on you?
Well, I wish I could tell you about my parents. My mother was from Texarkana, and she had a brother. She was one of 19 children, and her brother had been given permission by their father to go to Marshall from Texarkana to Pendleton High School. And she wanted to go. She and that brother were close, and my grandfather said no. And she kept asking him, he kept saying no. And she finally told him, if I can't go to school in Marshall with my brother Z, I'm gonna marry Judge Dunbar, who was the doofus in the neighborhood.
Wait a minute. She said if she can't go to school, she's gonna marry the doofus of the neighborhood.
My grandfather let her go.
We know how to get what we want, don't we? So you were already then saying, hey, I'm gonna get what I want, come hell or high water.
Well, she ended up going to school. She ended up marrying my dad, who asked my grandfather for her hand. And my grandfather was mischievous and asked him, you sure you want this sick one? You know, like he had
some other choices for you. You sure you want this sick one?
My mom was sickly, and she had to go home from school. And so, but my mom says, I'm not marrying you unless you can build me this house. And she drew a picture of the house she wanted. And she gave it to my dad. She didn't hear from him for 2 years. And he came back and told her he had built that house.
See, now this wasn't a time of social media, y'all. So he wasn't able to text her and let her know, hey, baby, I'm over here building this house. She just had to sit and wait on him, but he came back for her with that house.
She had no idea what he was doing.
But she was waiting on him, though.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah. You say far as you know. But you're saying that's something that had to be shown to you growing up.
Yeah.
The determination, the will to get it done, no matter what, we get things done.
So they were married in a dog run. You need to know that there's a house built with bedrooms and all on one side, and then on the other side would be living there and dining and kitchen, and this place down the middle that's wide open. It was called a dog run of cattle, chickens, everything else could run it. So they were married in the dog run.
Oh, wow.
That's what I told you about that.
Married in the dog run. Well, things have definitely changed since then. So fast forward, right? You've, went to school, you've raised your children, now, how did you get involved in Juneteenth?
Well, when I was a little one, they'd have Juneteenth in Marshall. We'd all go to the fairground, and there would be music and food. There'd be speeches and food. There'd be booths and food and food and food and food.
Plenty of food, huh?
But when we moved to Fort Worth, not so much. People celebrated Juneteenth with their family and friends. But I remember Juneteenth, they had at Little Sycamore Park, there were 30,000 people in a 10-day period. And oh, did we have fun. There were booths, there was music, there were all kinds of speeches. And then there had been a parade to the park. And so every year after that, Juneteenth would flourish. In fact, I got to lead Juneteenth.
It's so amazing just to know all of the things that kind of occurred in your life on this particular day. And then for you to be coined, the grandmother of Juneteenth, your home getting, burned down on the 19th of June. And then, you enjoying the celebrations of the 19th of June. Then you come yourself to start holding them. And now here you are, then walked all the way to Washington, 2.5 miles. And now are the grandmother of Juneteenth.
It started when I decided that if I walk from Fort Worth to Washington, D.C. to meet President Obama and ask him to make Juneteenth a national holiday, and that's what I did. I started walking 2.5 miles at a clip, sometimes 2.5 miles in the morning and 2.5 miles in the afternoon, all over the United States, from Fort Worth to Dallas to Shreveport to Texarkana, Little Rock. Oh, and then I went Denver. That's out of the way. But, hey, I went all over the United States. By the time I got to Washington, President Obama was not there any longer. But I decided that I wouldn't give up.
Oh, wait a minute. Hold on. You decided you wouldn't give up. Because at the time that you're doing this walk, you have no idea where it's going to go. You got hopes, but there's no guaranteed path. There's not like you saw step A through Z and knew where everything was going to end up. No. You just got going.
Well, and people were so good. I'd get a ride from one city to another, and somebody would feed me or take me into their home for a night. It was wonderful how people just caught the idea. They would follow me, crowds of them, until I made it to D.C. It was phenomenal. It really was. I was disappointed because I was disappointed because I didn't get to see the president, but I want you to know that it didn't stop me.
It didn't stop you. So you did all that walking. Listen, ladies, she's walked. She's got to Washington, and who she's coming to see is no longer there, but she doesn't give up. What happens next?
Well, I kept on doing the 2.5 miles. And then we had a petition, and it had 1,500,000 signatures that we took to Congress. And they made Juneteenth a national national holiday.
A national holiday. I don't think we understand how hard it is to get a holiday, let alone a national holiday that allows for people to still get paid. You know, they don't like to give those out. So what was that? You walked, Obama wasn't there. You still continued to walk, not knowing what was going to happen. You get there and you're met with open arms? Or was there still, how much pushback? Because there has to be adversity.
No.
No?
No adversity.
Okay.
I mean,
maybe it was, but you don't see it as adversity?
well, if you want to call adversity, one person I tried to give a flyer was too busy to take it. And I just decided he was late to work.
See, wait a minute. So you wasn't going to even put in your mind. Now, I know that was simple. But she said there was one gentleman who wouldn't take a flyer from her. And she figured, hey, he was just late for work. See, I have this thing when people run me off the road or, you know, do something crazy. I'm like, oh, they didn't see me. It's kind of my way of not letting it get to me and hold it, you know, internalize it. So you just basically said, hey, he must have been late to work.
Yeah.
And that's the only thing through that, because that's the only thing you ever talked. Only other thing was about the, somebody was supposed to give you an RV. Right, somebody was supposed to give you an RV and he kept his old stinking RV or something like that.
That was the beginning of the walk. That somebody had promised me an RV to get from point to point. And they changed their mind because they decided what I was doing was too political.
But that didn't stop you.
No.
I need y'all to see, this is the reason that I wanted her on. Because I wanted you to see that no matter through adversity, we have to keep going. Not only that, do we not need to harbor on the things that are being put in our way, essentially, right? We have to keep going. So now Juneteenth's a national holiday. Yay! All your work and all your efforts are finally
coming to fruition.
But
we aren't through yet. There's still much that needs to be done. Homelessness, joblessness, people without insurance, we've still got to address those things. So I'm going to keep on walking and talking and hope somebody listens.
So you're nowhere near through, huh? Now, what is your saying? Now, you know, you're 98 and, you know, we realize that, you know, many people don't get to live this long. What did you tell God that he was going to have to do?
Oh, listen. I prayed.
Yes.
I'm a praying person. I really am. And he's listened to my prayers.
Yes.
I know he has. He's listened to me on more than one occasion. When I've come up on hard times, when things weren't just so. All I've got to do is to have faith. And that's all I tell people. Have some faith in God. He'll bring you through this kind of stuff. He'll bring you through anything if you give him an opportunity. And I wished I could tell them about, our family losing a home. And here I am at 98. In a brand new house on that very same lot. The place is a jewel, furnished even to food in the refrigerator. And that, what happened to my family, happened so long ago. But God is in his heaven, and God has, I don't even know how to express how wonderful he has been to me. I wish my mom and my father could see this, and maybe they do.
I believe they do.
They are.
I believe they do too. Just even being here, just even when we broke ground on the home, you could just feel the energy shifting. You know, just to know that there were 500 people mob of white men just burning the place down, and to know that you were able to be gifted a home.
Yeah.
Brand new, like you said, fully furnished.
And that's Habitat for Humanity, a group that I became a part of at one time. But the things they have done, building homes for people, it's miraculous, is all I can say.
It is, and History Maker also. It was Habitat and History Maker
Yes.
that stepped in and made all of this possible.
Yes, indeed.
So you talked about now that Juneteenth is a national holiday, that we still have so much work that needs to be done.
We do. We can't forget the homeless people. We can't forget people who are hungry. We can't forget people who don't have insurance and need hospital. We can't.
Mhm.
And so we must do something about it. And our mayor, Matty Parker,
Mhm.
has surmised that there are some 290 people who are homeless in Fort Worth.
Mhm.
I disagree with her. I think there's more.
Okay.
I ain't complaining because she's taken 90 of them
Okay.
and put them in some decent housing. And she's helping them to get jobs and to see about their health.
Mhm.
And when this is accomplished, then she's going to go back and get another set of them.
Okay.
I am so happy. I'm so pleased to realize that I'm in a city where we are doing something. I mean, other cities may take notice and do something about
Right.
what's happening in their cities.
Right. But it's important that we see it happening, of
Yeah.
course, right here in our backyard.
Yes.
And so, again, that's something we all play a part. And you have a saying, if you can be taught to hate, you can be taught to love.
That's true. And so many people are learning that we can get so much more done together than pulling apart.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just so pleased that people are listening.
They're definitely listening, and I didn't want to make this too political, but now that we are shifting into a new, a new president, I think it's important that he also know that unity is still important.
The most amusing thing has happened to me. I get this thing, I think, that invites me to the inauguration of the new president. And my first inclination was, I don't want to be a part of it. And then I thought, if I'm invited,
Right.
why not go? Maybe there's something I can say or do from the inside
Right.
that will help.
Right.
And so I think I'm going.
You think you're going? Well, we're gonna see about that because we got to make sure you protected, in that. But I thought, with that is something that it also speaks to how can we work together. We can't always work with the people that we agree with all the time.
That's true.
And so you have to be open to working with people that you may not see eye to eye with. When she says, if you can be taught to hate, you can be taught to love. Well, in order to do that, that means that you have to be working with someone who that is in hate at that moment to even teach them how to love, which means that I am dealing with someone that I may not agree with. But just because we don't agree does not mean that we can't do things and put things in place together. And that's what unity is about. When she says freedom, she means freedom for all. Because if we're not all free,
No,
none of us
not
are free.
yet. No,
right?
no.
We all need to be free. This is not, and so today's message was essential to be able to show you and get you to understand how important it is not only to keep going through adversity, but also to be able to not give up. Okay, and so again, I told y'all we weren't going to hold her too long, but I want to make sure that I've reflected on. So, as I told you at the beginning of this, we started this, and today is about discipline and, you know, just determination. To share, most of the ladies that are on, and we are streaming live on YouTube, but most of the ladies that are on are over 40, right? And we've, you know, and I know to you that's a baby. Look, she was getting ready to say it too. You're a baby, you know. But, well, before I do that, if you could go back and tell your younger self, let's say your 18-year-old self, if you could go back and tell your 18-year-old self something, what do you think you would tell yourself?
Oh, I think I would tell my 18-year-old self that it was more important to get an education than it was to get married.
Wait a minute. That means my daddy might not be here, my auntie might not be here. But let's be real. So you felt like, so do you think that you would have done more school, more college? What do you think if that had been the case? You hadn't got married, what do you think you'd be doing?
I think I would have maybe looked for another vocation or occupation. Teaching was something that I could go to college, get a degree, and go to work. Something else would have taken longer, much longer. And
You just didn't have the time for that. So what do you think? Like, if you, knowing what you know now, and if you could go back 18, what do you think you would do?
I would have, if I had the sense, I would have gone to college. I would maybe have chosen a different major. I maybe would not have just gone on to teach. Maybe there would have been some other options. I don't know what they were.
You don't know what? Because again, you did what you had to do essentially.
Yes.
You did what you knew was going to get you directly out of college, take you right into a field so you could feed your family.
Yes.
And I totally understand that, but that's not how God intended it. He intended you to get married and see that you was gonna have to raise it.
I don't think that was God.
You don't think that was God? Do you think that was your own? But I think it turned out into being God's doing, because look at where we're at right now. Look at all the lives, and I don't really think you understand the impact that you have on the world now. You know, it was always just us, and I'm gonna tell y'all, being her grandchild is not an easy task, okay? Because you gonna work. She got something for you to do. Either you folding pamphlets, you going out and handing out something. If it's January the 1st when she does her big gathering where she feeds everyone, you're serving, but you are gonna do something, right? There's no such thing as sitting around and doing nothing. And so it has, as her granddaughter, it is truly an honor, and it takes a minute. You know, it takes us a while to grow up, and over the last maybe 4 or 5 years, just watching my grandmother has changed me, right? Because I used to be like, oh, she doesn't take no for an answer. If you tell her no, she's trying to come up with ways for you to do it this way, do it that way. But then I learned that that's what we all need to do. No means next opportunity. We should not give up. And so many of us give up on ourselves, give up on our dreams before we even give them time to come to fruition. Granddaughter, how long have you been doing Juneteenth?
Oh, I'm gonna say since before the first war, but that's not the truth.
But it feels like it, huh?
I've been doing it so long.
So long. And, I mean, and that's what I'm saying. So many of us think that if we haven't got there in a year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, that it means that it's not supposed. Can you stay at something for 40 years? Can your dream be, can you be so passionate about what you want that you will be willing to go at it, hell or high water, until you see it come to pass. You and God, of course, because we know God is at the forefront of everything. And if God has given you a vision, you can't keep worrying about how it's going to exactly come out to happen. You don't know that. There's been so many things, right, that you've done that it's just an idea that God has dropped in your spirit.
Yeah. And he will not leave you if God is for you and if you follow him. If you do the things that will get you to your destination.
Mm-hmm.
The Lord will be with you every step of the way.
Mm-hmm.
And so I advise young people, if you got a dream, don't turn it loose. Don't get behind. Don't decide that it's not for you. Because if there's a God up there, he's going to help you through it. And it may not take a week or a day. It may take years. But follow your first instinct. Follow what God would have you do.
You hear that? Follow what God would have you do. We talk about cliches. Faith without works is dead. You heard her say you have to do the things. We can't just pray. Okay, praying is good and we need to have a prayer life, but we got to do the work. None of the things that she has would have happened if she didn't get up and do the work. If she wasn't constantly moving, even when things were not working. Because there was a lot of that, right? Of things not working, seeming like it's not going to work. Hard times. I mean, again, you're raising children, right? So you got hard times, you have bills. I mean, you're going through all of those things that we seem to, think that because we're going through those things, that doesn't mean we should still be moving forward.
Let me tell you about this. You see, in my day and time, we had to pay a poll tax.
A poll tax?
$1.75 before you could vote. You had to have your poll tax receipt. And I'm down to my last $1.75 that meant I either won't go and vote or I had to buy some food for my family.
Mm.
And I chose to go and vote.
Mm-hmm.
Mind you, my family didn't miss a meal.
Right,
but
right. You still made it. God still came through.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But even that, y'all, $1.75. She had to choose between voting and feeding her family. And there's a lot of times where we have to choose what to the world seems crazy, right? Like Noah and the ark. Never been any rain, but he's building this big boat. And so sometimes our faith is radical. It doesn't make sense. How many people would have chose to feed their family versus going to vote? Voting, that wasn't, now, not saying that feeding their family wasn't important, because obviously it is. But that was something it had been taken away from them. They were just getting the opportunity to vote, and she dared not miss that opportunity. Some of us are missing opportunities because it's not wrapped in a pretty package. Sometimes it's just going to be in a brown bag or a trash bag. It might not be in a bag at all. But that doesn't mean, right? That doesn't mean that we should give up on our dreams just because it doesn't look like we thought it would look.
So, is this the end of this?
Hey, look, y'all, wait a minute. Y'all see how she said it's at the end of this, baby? She will do that. Like, I wanted y'all to see my grandmother, okay? But yes, this is the end of this, okay? I really appreciate you sitting down with us. Is there anything that you would like to leave the ladies with in regards to them pushing past challenges?
I want them to know that they've got a God that will carry them through anything if they'll just listen. And there's nothing too hard for him to do. Nothing. And they need to know that. It might not happen the day you think it should, but give it some time. I'm 98 years old, and look where I am now. It didn't occur to me back then that I'd have to be this long. But I'm happy. I don't know how to say it.
Hey, you said enough. You said it perfectly. You said it perfectly. She is happy, right? And to be able to be at this time of your life, ladies, that's what we want, right? We want to live a life of fulfillment. We are humans. We seek purpose. We seek being fulfilled. And so we need to find people that we can help. Each one teach one. Okay? When you're out and you're about, make sure that your mouth speaks positivity. Make sure that you speak life into people. Okay? And make sure that you're pushing towards your dreams. Okay? This has been amazing. I want you guys to know that there is merchandise available to purchase. I will put the link in the chat. So that way, if you guys want to get one of these beautiful mugs that we have here, we also have the shirt that I have on. Let me actually just show you guys the shirt. These are limited edition shirts. We will change these out. I don't know when. So you definitely want to be able to get some of the merchandise. And again, we have her children's book as well. Okay. And so again, we'll make sure that you have the link where you can get to that. But I just want to thank you, Granddaughter. I want to thank you for sitting down with us and taking time with us today.
I enjoyed it.
Okay, well, I appreciate y'all. Thank y'all for tuning in. And girl, get out the way. I will see y'all in the morning at 7 a.m. All right.